Well, we just heard some of the issues that brands or organizations overseas have in dealing with the Indian market, although clearly everyone on stage appears to have agreed that there is an Indian market, and it's a substantial one. So it's worth trying very hard to overcome all the hurdles that they face in coming to India. As Ian pointed out, there is a larger middle class here than there is in most parts of the world, including all of Europe, the United States, and certainly Canada, where we have a company. But let's look at what the buyers of international food and the sellers of international food go through in the Indian market itself. So I'd like to call on stage our panel for the morning. Avinash Tripathi, Procurement Head for Godrej Nature's Basket. Hemant Oberoi, Ex-Executive Chef Taj Hotels and currently Hemant Oberoi Restaurant. Hemal Haria, owner of Indian Dry Fruit Traders. Jahangir Lawyer, Managing Director of Fortune Gourmet. Shefali Gandhi, Chef and Managing Director, Koi Asian Dining. Kirit Jaisingh, owner and Managing Director of Magsons. Nitin Nagrale, Foodlink. Saikat Sarkar, Head of Bakery Business and Brand Entrepreneur, Future Consumer. And Sanjay Bajoria, Managing Director of Bajoria Foods. And to lead the discussion, I'd like to call Amit back on stage. Amit, all yours.
So, again, a very warm welcome and a very good morning to all the panelists. Jahangir was in a hurry for the last session and he started to, gate crash a session, but now he's in the right session, so we are happy for that. So, you can see that the August panel that you see in front of you represents everything that you can represent from the Indian food trade. You're talking of chefs, you're talking of the hospitality guys, you're talking of importers, you're talking of large retailers, you're talking of regional retailers, and you're talking of people who have made a mark in the Indian F&B industry. So, we wanted to discuss or bring forward the challenges that we find in the buying process of the international food and what are the shopping trends that they have seen. So, I would, first, I would want a round of applause for Chef Hemant Oberoi. He's been instrumental in, creating or holding the beacon of international food in India. And, he's been a mentor to a lot of chefs, a lot of hospitality people. And I would want to start with him in terms of asking him what are the challenges, because he's now opened up his own restaurant. And what are the challenges that he faces, and what are the, I would not say the shopping trends, but the consumer behavior trends when they come to a restaurant, and what are the expectations of a consumer, how you tap into the aspiration of the Indian consumer who's now traveling the world, wanting to try different cuisines, and comes with great expectation and hope to your restaurant.
Thanks, Amit. When I was with Taj Group, it was a different thing. There was a company behind you, and you just had to pick up the phone and tell the purchase manager, just buy it. Today, you yourself go through the whole thing, what price, and price also is not that much a criteria, but it is the product availability today. I mean, a couple of months back, availability was still there. Now, it's shrinking more and more, I can tell you that. There are challenges. I opened a restaurant just about 6 months back. And this is very fine dining, creating the upper middle and the niche market in the city. I have everything on the menu, from escargots to foie gras to everything. But it's a challenge to get everything available in the city. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't get it. You have to wait for the importer to do it. If I wanted a Peruvian chilies and the Peruvian corn, it is a big challenge for me. I got the seeds from Peru and gave it to somebody in Bangalore. I said, can you grow it for me? He took about 2 years, grew up the chilies, and he says, but there's no market for it. What do I do? So it was again a challenge. The middleman says, okay, I'll get you the thing. A $5 product is being sold to me at $12. I can't afford it. So it's a big challenge for me. Even for the Indian product, sometimes I come across the product. In my restaurant in Singapore, somebody came to me, sir, this is a coconut water dehydrated. I had never seen it. And I had come to the origin of it. It's in Chennai. So, these are the challenges which we in our country, we don't know. So there has to be kind of forums and I think you are doing a great job of bringing all these things together and our challenges in procurement. We are willing to pay a price, but still the availability is very erratic.
So, absolutely, you are, what you're talking about, the challenges in terms of the hospitality sector when they request for a product and the availability is not there. I remember I was talking to Chef Manish and he used a lot of foie gras in his galati kebab with foie gras. And he says that the amount that I need is not available in the Indian market and I have to specifically.
So I used to have foie gras on the menu in Goa in the restaurant. But the thing was, the minimum quantity that I had to pick up was so much because whoever was getting it into Goa said that I'm only getting it primarily just for you. Now the thing is, Goa, the market is not such where foie gras is going to move that fast. Yes. So then I had to take it off for another reason altogether.
No, absolutely. And this is not just with foie gras. There are other categories.
And Amit, also, just to clarify this, that people who pay for a foie gras in Bombay, Delhi, or in any metro will not pay that much in Goa and think, oh, why is it so expensive? So it's a different psyche that you're dealing with altogether where a consumer is concerned.
And the price difference is very much visible when it comes to pricing in Mumbai over pricing in Delhi. And, Jahangir represents Fortune Gourmet and imports a lot of these exotic seafood products, mussels from New Zealand as far as I know, and other products. So I know, what happens with departments because I communicate with them on a day-to-day basis. But as an importer, what do you see when a chef like Hemant Roy calls you up and I need these products? What do you do? What are the, do you hold products for him? Do you do forecasting? Because I don't see a lot of forecasting happening in India. We find it a big challenge, whether it is with retail, that people are not willing to forecast. They are not giving us a planogram that this is what they require, whether it is the retail or the hospitality. So what do you do?
Hi. Well, if you're talking about, I'll just like to address what Chef Ali and Chef Oberoi were talking about with foie. When it comes to things like foie or other charcuterie or anything that is used in small quantities, it does become a very big challenge for the importer also. We pay a fixed cost for testing. So if I was to clear a consignment that was 15 kilos or 3 kilos, I'm paying the same amount for testing. It affects my logistics, it affects my buying power. So when you're dealing with niche products like foie, it becomes very hard. It is a challenge for sure. When you come to products like seafood, which are niche, forecasting is very important. The elephant in the room used to be FSSAI, which has been dramatically changing their rules actually and becoming much more industry friendly. Listening to our concerns and addressing them. And this is also thanks to organizations like FIFI that is able to address our concerns directly to them. Forecasting is something that we use. We use a system called binning, where we actually bin products for periods of quarters. But again, that depends completely on shelf life. So when you look at things like the New Zealand green shell mussels, they're not that much of a big problem because it's a frozen product with a long shelf life. But if I was looking at something like guanciale or culatello, which is an Italian charcuterie, and which has a small consumption, it also becomes a challenge for the importer to innovate. So Fortune has been very good at innovating and bringing in new products. This isn't as easy for us anymore with the rules that are put in by FSI, with the new import rules, a lot of which are valid and make sense from a food safety standpoint. But it becomes much harder for us to experiment and to try. So for me to bring in a product and to give it to Chef Oberoi and say, hey Chef, do you like this? And he says yes. I've got to have some sort of volume there to generate a sale also. It's a task, and it'll continue to be so. Did I answer everything you wanted?
No, absolutely, and that in itself speaks about how we are as an entrepreneur innovating ourselves in terms of having to overcome these challenges. We've been working as a trade body with Food Safety Authority of India, Department of Animal Husbandry, where we still find a lot of challenges happening in terms of permits and other issues which are there. But we still see an approach by the government and the departments that it has become business friendly. They are listening to us. But I still find other challenges. I think Shefali was there on NDTV about 2 to 3 days back or 4 days back about the beef issue and how the consumption of beef is still there, but the demand, the supply of beef has gone down to 30%. And, that's something that I would want you to address. People don't want to talk about beef, but,
funnily enough, I buy it from him. And he's not giving me the shortage. So honestly, I don't know what to say on this. So I was actually true when I said it on NDTV as well, that I'm not, because we're buying it from a legal source. And that's him right here. So he's not giving me any issues on my beef supply.
But
there is an issue, you're right,
yeah.
There is an issue. But that issue is also coming where, honestly, and he'll agree with me on this, that the shacks are not buying the good quality beef.
Yes.
They're buying beef which is actually, they're buying it on a challan, which is a non-GST challan. You don't know what's happening on that. So people who are buying it from legal sources, which is exactly what I said on NDTV as well, that it's perfect. We are not facing a supply issue. And honestly, we're not.
But, when you definitely are talking about yourself.
I don't know what he's up to because he's making sure everyone's getting the supply right.
So I think let's go to Kirat Bhai and ask and understand how are you overcoming these challenges, because there is this whole, new breed of people standing on borders trying to stop trucks of legitimate product coming in from Karnataka into Goa and, stopping the supply chain or hindering the supply chain, I should say.
Thanks, Amit. I'm the dark horse over here in a group sitting here. I represent an ambassador for Goa along with Shefali, which is today one of the smallest states in our union. I have a couple of points which I need to come to you before we come to the issue of beef. We need, as a state in the union, it's very important that importers, distributors realize that numbers are not the only thing which is going to drive business. We very firmly believe that it has to be the awareness that has to be spread. And I mentioned it earlier when Amit asked me the question. How can you make a community aware of all the products that are there in the market today, which are not currently accessible to them? And that's precisely the reason why we say a state of Goa can be an absolute model, a template on how awareness can be created. We do a lot of promotions. We ask for a number of promotions from embassies, from trade, just because of the fact that a place like Goa, which has, say, 1.5 million population, covers the whole state. And if big players in Mumbai, like say in Andheri, any of the malls in Andheri, which has 3 times the population of the whole of Goa, if they have to create this kind of promotions, which they do, it's limited to a very, very small section of the whole state. Now, awareness is something that will push the products at a later stage, and which is going to create the demand for the market that we are all looking at. Exactly for this reason, we need to have the institutions. We need to have the embassies. We need to have the gourmet restaurants that Shefali talks about, and stores like ours, which have to combine together to create that critical volume to import stuff and to put it out in the market. That's precisely why I raised the point earlier. The month of July, I think, is the best month. I think Madame Francois also said French celebrates in July, Canada celebrates their day in July, US celebrates their National Day in July. Why can't the Association of Foreign Food Importers create July as the month in which we promote imported products across the globe into the states and try Goa, for instance? So this is one point that I needed to bring forward. The second question is about beef, which is now the hot topic which Amit asked me about. For the heck of me, I can't understand why is it that certain products are sold abroad and which are required here with us are not allowed to be imported. Butterball sells at 60 cents a pound in the US. Adam, right? And we are buying it here at 1,500 rupees a kilo. I don't believe there is a ban on eating beef in India. The ban is on slaughter of cows. So why are we not allowed to import beef into India? And that's a huge demand. And that solves all the problems what Shefali spoke about no GST, about people giving items on challans, and about illegal transportation of meat. So I believe we need to work on very, very specific issues over here to ensure that the awareness and the reach of all the imported products that we are talking about are there in the market today.
I think we can go to the government and tell them that our cow is the holy cow, and maybe the Canadian or the American or the Spanish cow is not that holy, so we can slaughter it and bring it over to India. That will make life easier for a lot of us, and we'll get to savor great steaks in India, which we don't get or illegally get.